Okay, my plan. This is a map of Western Sahara. I started...
They get to within 100 yards.
The Western Sahara, a desert nation the size of Colorado, is located on the west coast of Africa.
A little-known, rather strange war, but nonetheless bitter and bloody.
An unknown war. People are fighting and dying for a country which has never existed.
A handful of guerrillas move off their hilltop position.
In a land where the slightest error in judgment could result in death.
Western Sahara is often referred to as Africa's last colony because it's the only territory in Africa that is still on the United Nations list of non-self-governed territories, which is a synonym for colonized.
At the time that the Spaniards disengaged, they had an inalienable legal obligation to give the people of that territory, as a territory, the right to make a decision as to what their future government was going to be. That's the way it was done everywhere else. Why not in the Western Sahara?
Morocco occupies and controls most of Western Sahara.
The Sahrawis, the indigenous people of the Western Sahara, are fighting against Morocco for their independence.
Moroccans really don't take this issue lightly. For them, the Sahara is Moroccan.
Most Moroccans see the Western Sahara as an integral part of their country. To them, this is an irreversible historical fact.
And technically, these two sides are still in conflict till this day, but right now they're not shooting at each other that much.
Their small, desert guerrilla army is pitted against Morocco's modern, well-equipped armed forces. Even though the Moroccan occupation of the Western Sahara is condemned internationally.
I had heard of occupied Western Sahara, but I had no idea what life under military control might be like. So my plan was to cycle down from Barcelona all the way through Spain, Morocco, and then reach the internationally recognized border and cycle through the territory from north to south. And to get there, I have my bike to make sure that I'm fully inconspicuous. Apparently they have quite the secret police going on over there. I'm a bit afraid. I'm a bit concerned that I might get deported. I had a call with a journalist 5 days ago, and he was deported when he went there in 2019. And he told me that he would be surprised if I don't get deported. And I just saw that 5 days ago, two Spanish journalists were deported. Morocco is increasingly opening this territory for tourists, but journalism is forbidden. And I will try to make myself look like the biggest fucking Western tourist. This is already quite deserty, so I went through here, which is already the desert, and I cycled down all the way here, and my plan was to stop here, in the town, the small town of Abte. I am 50 kilometers into this, and it's pretty hard. The wind is not blowing in my favor. So first impressions, I'm seeing more and more military trucks. So I guess that's an indication for the current political situation here. Yeah, the military trucks, the police, like this, and I go back. Vive le Maroc! Vive le Maroc! Vive le Maroc!
Vive le Maroc! Toujours
Vive le roi! There's life in the desert. There certainly is life in the desert. You can see sheep herders and camel herders. There's flowers in the desert, believe it or not. There's oases and there's seasonal rivers. So, and along these seasonal rivers, you will see trees and bushes and shrubs. These are the essentials. A lot of sugar, something to cook stuff with, something to make friends with, more sugar, something to make sure that my stomach doesn't go quoink quoinks, more sugar, quoink quoinks, water. I took 8 liters of water, which is too much, but I was scared, so I took 8 liters of water. And actually it's going down really fast, especially because I'm cleaning my bum with it. And then over there I have my face scarf. Without this I think I'd be a piece of bacon already. And as you can see, the wind is fully here. What else? Getting a lot of lorry drivers honking at me and encouraging me. Yeah, so far so good, really. Actually no, my bum hurts a lot, and it's much harder than I expected because I'm really heavy. It's really warm. It's a straight line. And I also found out really quickly that cycling in occupied Western Sahara, there are several police and military checkpoints between towns and villages. Because I'm a cyclist, they would let me through quite easily, but whenever they checked my Belgian passport, it would always go like this.
Belgique.
Belgique. Maroc et Belgique.
Ouais, la coupe du monde.
Ah,
ouais, ouais.
2-0.
Je sais bien.
2-0, 2-0.
Ouais, je sais bien.
Ziyech! Oh, what a finish! And it is finished!
Also in occupied Western Sahara, there's all of these military bases scattered across the landscape. As you cycle, you see hundreds of them. And initially, I bought a bottle of whiskey, hoping to seduce military men into becoming my friends. But actually, most of these are guarded by dogs that are very anti-cyclists.
Holy fuck, he's getting there! Oh shit! Holy fuck, shit! Fuck! Shit!
Maybe I should have brought dog bones.
Ah! You piece of shit!
The territory is littered with landmines. Both sides used to use them, so you have to be really careful there. I do need to report that I'm guilty of sometimes stopping by the side of the road and throwing a stone out there to see if I can trigger a landmine. Ah.
Lafayette. Sahrawi.
Sahrawi?
D'origine.
We climbed to this beautiful viewpoint, and hundreds of kilometers that way, or about, are refugee camps in Tindouf.
The Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic is a state without a territory. Its citizens wait to return to it from exile in camps in the southwest tip of Algeria.
Sahrawis have lived here since 1975, after they were forced to flee the Moroccan invasion of Western Sahara.
165,000 Sahrawis mostly women and children, now live in a city of tents, refugees in the desert. The men are at the front, fighting the Moroccan army.
The people who live in the Western Sahara are descendants of the Moors. Since biblical times, they have been long-range camel-herding nomads. For the past 15 years, it has been a war between the Polisario, representing the people of the Western Sahara, the Sahrawi, and primarily the Kingdom of Morocco.
A Sahrawi is a people divided into two. Sahrawis beyond the wall of shadow and shame, and Sahrawis in the occupied territories. I was a Sahrawi in the occupied territories. The Sahrawi in the occupied territories has two options. The first option is to walk of the wave, bow to the storm, and say, "Long live the king. The Sahara is Moroccan," and such talk. The second option is to defend the Sahrawi people and resist the forceful claim to our marine and natural resources. Resisting used to be more dynamic and intuitive. If you find a Sahrawi house or family resisting the occupation, 1, 2, or 3 family members will have been arrested. They will have been in Moroccan prisons for at least several years. The riches of the land, and even the wealth of humanity, is wasted in one way or another.
I thought I was going to pass out, but I didn't yet. My head is pounding. The sun is beaming right now, and I found little spots outside of the sun to take shade of it. If you see it, if I go just like this, I'm in the sun. Up. I'm back out to the sun. I'm making some rice because I still have diarrhea. I don't know what's going on with my body, but it's not good.
It is eerily silent, a wasteland, miles of rock and gravel, broken only by the occasional escarpment or dried up riverbed. Its coastline is mostly precipitous cliffs and treacherous sandbars. Temperatures soar to more than 50 degrees Celsius during the day and plunge to near freezing at night. It's described as one of the world's most inhospitable places.
I saw my first dead camel. So, in Morocco, I've seen many dead animals on the side of the road. But yeah, dead camel was the first for me today. On some online blogs, I had read that in this town there were some abandoned military units.
Somewhere in the distance, there's some really old military camps. Keep to the tracks or risk losing a leg. That's the choice I have to make today. And pretty much every day apparently.
I was shown a collection of Polisario landmines the Moroccans claim are of Soviet origin. Later, the Moroccan foreign minister cited captured weapons like these as evidence of Soviet control over the Polisario.
I don't want to know what this is.
The Sahara is a vast country. To control all of it, you need an army the size of the Chinese army.
Is there any kind of weapons that you need to fight the kind of war you have with the Polisario?
Effectivement, nous attendons.
Indeed, we are patiently waiting to receive American weapons, because our neighbors are armed to the teeth by the Soviets. The military was very disappointed because we did not receive the weapons Morocco had wanted and asked for. After all, we are the traditional allies and friends of the Western world and the United States.
Les amis traditionnels de l'Occident et des États-Unis.
You can really see that at that moment, I was not doing so well. For example, here, feeling very lonely. A lot of up and down, missing my friends and family, a lot of doubt, loneliness, missing friends and family, a harsh, noisy night, woken up by a stray dog. Amazing. Yeah. I was having a hard time at that very moment. My plan initially was to go to Sahara because I thought it'd be a really interesting stop because it's the closest city to the Moroccan Berm, this highly militarized area.
It's impossible for the enemy to penetrate the defense wall. The wall itself is defended by mines, barbed wires, and trenches.
One of the largest concentrations of landmines in the world. But I changed my mind because I was scared and I thought that I'd probably get deported immediately because it's highly suspicious. So I decided to change my plan, not go to Sahara, but cycle back to the coast. The only problem is that halfway in the middle of nowhere, I ripped my spare tire and my inner tube. Ah, putain, fais chier. I went a bit off-road. I took a really crappy road and then my spare tire ripped while I was in the middle. I was super scared. In the middle of the day with the hot beaming sun straight onto my face after a really tough day the day before.
Okay. I'm going to...
So after having a bit of a panic attack, I was pushing my bike for a couple of kilometers, for a couple of hours. I was just 30 kilometers away from the main road on both sides, so and it was about 4 or 5 o'clock, so
Yeah, I would have spent the night in the desert, but luckily
This really nice guy, Mulud, a camel herder, picked me up
in his Land Rover and drove me about 20 kilometers back towards Abte.
Abte. It's just over there. Mulud. Thank you, Mulud. Mulud saved my bacon today.
Love camel herders now. Always have, probably, actually. There's nothing wrong with camel herding. It's an amazing job.
I now get it why people become camel herders. You get to drive around your shabby, broken old Land Rover across the desert. It looks like a lot of fun. Okay.
And then I walked 5 more kilometers to the main road. And I was hitchhiking to get back to Abte when someone stopped and he was just like, yeah, hop in, I'm going to Samara. And then I was like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna go to Samara.
To Samara, the city I thought would be a bit too sketchy to go to.
At the first police stop, they're very suspicious about my presence.
They didn't understand why I was in the car, what I was doing with the bike, why I wanted to go to Samara. So you can see the policeman holding my passport while interrogating my driver, who's also my savior. And actually the whole story with ripping my tie and being lost in the desert was quite convincing.
Yeah, and my driver visibly is a very pious man, a very Muslim man.
So when this guy picked me up, I was so grateful, I was so relieved. I thought I was going to spend a night in the middle of nowhere with the jackals, and instead he drove me to a place I didn't think I would be able to go. So I told him that the next day we should go pray to Allah.
He's just so hyped about me becoming a Muslim.
He took this as an invitation to convert me to Islam.
We arrive in Samara. The last police check to Samara, once again sticky. They don't understand why there's a bike, they don't understand why there's a stranger in the car. But we explain the situation, like, okay, how long are you staying, how many days? You better, like, making it clear that I need to leave soon, basically.
And now I was in Samara. I would fix my tire and then continue cycling. Samara is the biggest city that is close to the berm. Tourists don't go there. It's very militarized.
There's several army bases in Samara. I mean, the whole place is just army base after army base. I met these kids at some point who showed me around, and they showed me they showed me what buildings were hit by missiles in Samara.
Tu sais pour les avions?
Là-bas, il y a eu des explosions là-bas.
Pour les avions.
Boum, boum.
Wow.
Il est mort un homme. Un homme, il est
Ah ouais?
mort, oui.
Yes.
Ah, fuck.
Il est 5.
And separating Western Sahara from the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic is a massive berm, a huge wall. It goes through the landscape, separating the western part to the eastern part, giving some Cold War vibes.
The Moroccans' answer was medieval. They built walls. Successive walls have pushed the Polisario further and further east. The newest, which the Moroccans refused to show us, runs for more than 1,000 miles. It is manned by 150,000 Moroccan soldiers.
What has really changed the military situation in the Sahara is the building of the sand wall. And I believe that the king got some technical advice on this from us and from the Israelis, that we helped him with the sensor system. But the wall has frustrated the hit-and-run tactics of the Polisario.
Algeria has this anti-colonial history, whereas Morocco has this history of aligning with the West and Western interests. Yeah, that's it.
But Algeria had its own reason for adopting the Polisario. Morocco claimed southwest Algeria, the very area which Algeria now virtually handed over to the Polisario. Politically, the two countries could hardly be further apart. Morocco, a conservative, divine right monarchy, closely allied to the West. Algeria, a radical third world republic.
And then I was receiving a lot of messages from my religious friends.
Ici c'est la mosquée. Ok. Et donc je vais venir ici plus tard?
Oui.
Ok.
Pour rencontrer.
Ok. Ok.
That night we would go to the mosque and he would show me how it works.
Voilà.
And so we did. And he also said that I would meet his friends and I could ask any question about Islam. And at 6 we met up again. He invited me inside the mosque and I could see how they pray and they stick their feet together and their shoulders together so that apparently they can channel the energy from God. Only men, of course.
Allahu Akbar.
So we go to their friend's place and we were there with 30 odd men with their scarves on, with their long beards, with their jalaba. All these men came to see me, to convert me.
But yeah, they're very homosocial, you know, they're very touchy. They're very close.
We have food, couscous, delicious, absolutely delicious. And then after that, we continue talking about Islam until 2 a.m. They were actually two Sahrawis. They seem to say that, well, in Islam, you have to respect a ruler as long as it's a Muslim ruler. It's religion above everything else, above nationalism, above tribalism, and that you don't question the authority of the ruler as long as he's Muslim and he's not telling you to do anything contrary to Muslim faith.
Et cet homme, le voici, il a 46 ans, c'est le roi du Maroc, Hassan II. Avec la marche verte, Hassan II espère gagner sur tous les plans, faire oublier les problèmes intérieurs, se réconcilier avec son opposition, même de gauche, et surtout ressouder le peuple marocain dans un immense élan de nationalisme.
Vive le roi Hassan II! Vive le roi Hassan II! Vive le roi Hassan II!
Cela signifie que vous êtes investi d'une double mission, veiller au respect de l'islam et veiller au respect de la Constitution que vous avez vous-même donnée à ce pays. En vertu de cette Constitution, votre personne est sacrée et inviolable et quiconque s'attaque à votre majesté commet un sacrilège et doit expier son crime. Le Français qui nous regarde ce soir n'est pas...
They gave me the Quran translated in French, and that's
another jalaba for me. 2 jalabas.
And they also gave me a book on the fundamentals of Muslim faith. Then I left Samara for good.
So this is my bike setup. I put the food in here and the water. My underwear goes here. This is my sleeping bag. Sun protection, very important. Camera bag, kitchen, tent and, tent. Sleeping and warm situation is at the back over here. Water here as well. Always carrying 5 litres of water. Hydration nation. And only 1 pair of shorts, of course. A single pair of shorts, the trusted pair of shorts.
In 1962, reported some 10 billion tons of phosphate in the region, with 1.7 billion tons of proven reserves at a place called Bukra.
So I left Samara, cycled here up, all the way to Layun. That's about 200 kilometers or so.
Après le discours de Sa Majesté, on va, Inch'Allah, jusqu'à la capitale, Layun.
Maroc, la marche verte. Verte parce que le vert est la couleur de l'étoile sur le drapeau rouge marocain. C'était la couleur préférée du prophète Mahomet. Et parce que cette marche est aussi une marche sainte. Du moins, c'est ce qu'on leur a dit aux Marocains quand on leur a demandé d'aller récupérer les arpents de sable colonisés par l'Espagne, le Sahara occidental, au cours d'une marche sans précédent dans l'histoire moderne. Mais tout a été prévu, sans doute depuis plusieurs mois, malgré le caractère spontané que le Maroc a voulu donner à cette manifestation. Ambulance, ravitaillement, essence, eau. En principe, les participants à la marche ne manqueront de rien.
Okay, so at the first checkpoint right now, heading into Layun, they took my passports and they kept it for a little while, so I knew something was sus. And then they came back 5 minutes later and asking what my job was. Because obviously I think coming from Samara to Layun is a bit weird. So yeah, they asked me what my job was and I said that I was a student and I'm cycling. And they believed me, they gave me back my passport. So now I'm heading into Layun. But I was that was a bit stressful. I was sneaking my SD cards into my pants.
I was actually really scared when I arrived in Layun that they were following me, but it didn't seem like anyone was following me. But so yeah, in Layun I was really scared of being observed or spied on. And Layun is the most important city in Western Sahara.
Much of the economic boom, which has come to a halt in Morocco, seems to have been relocated here.
The people here are Moroccan, but many are from the north, migrating south because of greater prospects. The garrison town has experienced massive growth in the past 25 years because of active investment by the Moroccan government, which has created wealth.
New clinics, houses, mosques, and schools are being built, and in many cases, these services are being provided free.
Layun is proving a magnet for all Moroccans. Financial incentives include subsidized housing and tax advantages, while civil servants can double their salary. All these inducements are part of Morocco's plan to keep the separatist Polisario front down and out, preferably in neighboring countries. A high standard of living and guaranteed jobs usually reduces the chances of unrest.
The last demographic transformation came after the ceasefire agreement.
They have flooded Western Sahara with Moroccan citizens in the Green March. Other Moroccans have come in.
At the time, the UN was attempting to identify the legitimate participants for the referendum promised in the ceasefire agreement.
We would then try to find people who were qualified to vote. There were various criteria for who could vote in the referendum, and we would be in the process of registering.
During the identification process, the United Nations discovered many fallacies, many people and families posing as Sahrawis.
they set up training facilities to teach the Moroccans how to say these words in the Sahrawi fashion, so that they could pose as Sahrawis and then, get themselves enrolled as voters and things like that. The number of dirty tricks and absolutely unethical and unscrupulous things that the Moroccans did is amazing.
The referendum that was scheduled in the early 90s was stopped.
I don't think the settlement plan can be concluded, and I have so notified the Secretary General.
Et ce référendum que vous aviez proposé?
Eh bien, j'attends qu'il...
Vous croyez qu'il aura lieu?
Comment vous croyez qu'il aura lieu? Il faut qu'il ait lieu. Ça fait 6 ans qu'on me casse les pieds, je m'excuse, on me casse les pieds pour qu'on fasse un référendum. Aux Nations Unies, au comité des 24, à l'OUA, partout. Les mass médias, les journalistes, la télévision, vous y compris. Et maintenant que je veux faire le référendum, on n'y croit plus.
Okay, so for today, leaving Laayoune, I have my lucky charm. I am wearing my Morocco football t-shirt because I know that there's going to be a lot of police checks heading out. This is the military stop when I left Laayoune, and this one was really special to me because before I even arrived, the guy knew my name. He said, "Raphael, give me your passport." Now I'm really feeling like I'm being observed, or I think they know, I don't know, they're probably just tracking me at this point, just looking where I'm going.
It's raining in the Sahara! Can you believe it?
So I filmed the longest conveyor belt in the world this morning. So I cycled to this conveyor belt here just outside of Laayoune.
The question obviously is why? Why the interest in this barren stretch of wasteland? Well, it's partly to do with resources, most notably phosphates.
By including the Southern Territories, Morocco controlled 70% of global supply.
Fun fact, actually, this conveyor belt, it's visible from space. So I was approximately here, and I cycled down. And this is the Buka mine, which is one of the largest deposits of phosphate in the world. They extract the phosphate and then they ship it to the rest of the world. And phosphate is usually used in fertilizers.
Tout cela pour quelques milliers de tonnes de phosphate, vous demanderez-vous? Non, pas seulement. Tout cela aussi, du moins aux yeux du peuple, au nom du roi et de Dieu, si Dieu le veut, Inch'Allah.
Then I carried on down to Boujdour, and actually on the way there I met some funky Americans, a couple cycling to South Africa from Norway. They were really nice. We cycled together to Boujdour, and I still had this bottle of whiskey, so I thought we should celebrate on the beach in Boujdour. I hadn't been boozing for about 3 months, so drinking that bottle of whiskey really got me drunk. Okay, so with these two Americans, I cycled down all the way to Dakhla, which is about 400-500 kilometers from Laayoune. And on the way down, made plenty of stops along the way. But here, I was just trying to clear distance and go as fast as possible.
Oh yeah, good job, bro. From now on, whenever we enter a town, village, and whenever we exit a town or village, we get stopped and checked by the police. They take our passport. And it seems that they are tracking us, so if we don't leave the next day, or if we don't do exactly what we said,
they will know, and they communicate between each other. So this morning when we left Bouche d'Or, they probably communicated with the next police stop, and the next police stop will be expecting us, and if we're not there, then they're going to be asking questions. So everywhere we go, we are now being tracked and checked and technically monitored. I broke my glasses this morning, so I made a quick repair. Today I'm carrying 1 kilo of dates, 5 liters of water, and of course my safety potato in case anything goes wrong. I'll always have this bad boy. Salam. Kushi bekhair, alhamdulillah. Merci, shukran. Believe it or not, but you do have to go uphill in the desert as well. It's not all flat. So we left at 6:30 this morning so that we can avoid the wind. The wind is turning. We used to have wind. We had so much tailwind for the past 200 kilometers, and now it's slowly fading and turning into either a crosswind or a front-facing wind. So we need to cycle at the time when the wind is the lowest, and the wind is the lowest early in the morning, usually, at the moment. Imagine 25 kilometer Imagine a 25 km/h wind straight in your face, and at the same time you're lugging a whole bullshit. Yeah.
Today I really didn't think I could continue. I'm cycling and I'm feeling very weak, and I feel like I'm driving myself crazy. It's hard to remain consistent with your thoughts and then to remember what your plan is. Sometimes it feels like the only thing I can actually continue thinking about is simple thoughts.
Oh, it's a massive one. Oh yes. Now looking back at all the footage I recorded on my phone, I realized that I also developed a very unhealthy relationship with skulls and bones. It seems that a man who loses their head in the desert will eventually find another. Whoops! Hello! But my Muslim friends want to know if I'm safe, if I'm practicing, and they send me like surahs of the Quran. Oost! I'm currently walking around trying to find the best rocks so that I can keep the dogs away while I'm sleeping, because I'm sleeping in this open area with plenty of trash and stray dogs. Even the military were kind of looking at us like, do you know how many stray dogs there are around here? Like, yeah, because we're sleeping right next to a military outposts. But today we are headed to Dakhla, so that's gonna need some leg muscles, which I am low on at the moment. My whole body is aching. I don't know why they just kept waking us up, these military men. And then we got checked a second time, and then a third time during the night, and they kept waking us up.
Ever wondered where the next big investment boom in Africa might be? Look no further than Dakhla Oued Edahab, a region in southern Morocco poised for explosive growth. This southern Moroccan region is rapidly emerging as a commercial and investment powerhouse, and Spanish companies are taking notice. Key players like Iberdrola and Repsol to explore the exciting opportunities Dakhla offers. Infrastructure on the rise. The massive Port de Dakhla Atlantique is under construction, supercharging logistics and trade for the entire region. Going green. Dakhla is a champion for renewable energies, opening doors for investment in sustainable power projects. Tourism paradise, untouched natural beauty, and a unique location make Dakhla a gold mine for ecotourism and adventure experiences.
Welcome to Dakhla. Yallah.
Dakhla. Because I didn't want to pay for a fancy hotel, I slept on the beach and was mostly hanging out with French pensioners.
Something crazy just happened. So there's been these two dogs that have kind of adopted me, and they sleep next to me on the beach.
Fucking dogs, man. Always barking. You're stupid. Stupid.
And whenever I go on a walk, they follow me, and I've never even given them food. Anyway, they always sleep around me.
These fucking dogs, this dog. It's fucking insane, this dog.
And I've realized that they're also kind of protecting me a bit. And right now in the dark, there was this German guy walking to the beach who just arrived. His camper van a couple of hours ago. And they fucking attacked him and bit his arm. They like runs to him, and because I don't take ownership of these dogs, like they're not mine, I didn't really adopt them, I didn't even try to keep them, they just happened to like me. I don't really react or think about their well-being, but anyway, I can't believe that this dog attacked this German guy for me. Yeah, they bit him.
This is the military base I couldn't film that is right next to Ocean Vagabonds, this luxury resort on the tip of Dakhla.
So I just got onto this private surf resort that is protected by a military base. I saw a dude with a Kalashnikov over the ridge.
I could film all the way up until here, and this is what remains.
While 50 meters away, there's white families taking waves.
Plus ou moins, c'est une place privée. Ok. D'accord, c'est pour ça que c'est payant. Voilà. Plus ou moins, il a 6 hôtels à Dakhla. Il a Dakhla Attitude, P45, West Point, Lac Creek, Energy Lagoon et Dakhla Dion. Ok, ça va, il est en place, quoi. Mais lui, c'est la famille royale. D'accord. C'est pour ça qu'il a le pouvoir. Ah,
I would like to express a message to tourists visiting the occupied Sahrawi regions. Before visiting, they must first make an effort to educate themselves on the issue of the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination, so as to understand the ambiguity. It is important to remember that this conflict has already experienced more than half a century of suffering, oppression, lies, famine, marginalization, and displacement. Morocco has now moved on to the stage of indirect displacement of the Sahrawis. It is the tragic living conditions, threats, and prison sentences imposed on young people and those demanding self-determination that are forcing us to leave our lands.
The security walked up to me and got really nervous and basically escorted me off the premises. So I walked back to the fishing village and I'm starting to get really nervous because there's this police stop just where you're supposed to walk into the luxury resort, and I am 100% sure that they're going to stop me, ask me what I was doing there, why was I filming and so on. I just walked to the first fisherman driving out and he immediately took me. So I hop in and I'm completely hidden, and so I drove out with these 4 other fishermen and they dropped me off in Dakhla.
$100 1 kilogramme.
Ah ouais?
Oui.
Nice. C'est pas trop cher, ça va.
More than 90% of the octopus caught in Dakhla will be exported to Europe or Asia. Overfishing is systemic along our coast.
Nomads do not eat fish, and the Sahrawis have never exploited the fishing banks along the coast.
Welcome to Morocco, Sahara de Morocco.
Fishing here accounts for well over half the entire Moroccan production. Sometimes, the nets used are forbidden in Moroccan areas, but allowed in the occupied territory because they want to capture all the wealth remaining in the ocean. This is without talking about the controversial fisheries agreements concluded with the European Union, Russia, Mauritania, China, and Turkey. These countries have been granted concessional and preferential agreements in the occupied territories, even though the Sahrawi people have not consented to any of this. All Saharan seafood is transported to Moroccan regions for export, under the pretense that it was caught in Morocco proper. In this affair, the companies are run by people who are complicit with the Moroccan government. The maritime fishing industry is known for its unprecedented level of corruption, which helps to blur the traces that lead back to the product's origin, a territory exploited in violation of international law.
The French president also saying that French businesses would help with the development of the area of Western Sahara.
But so when we talk of neocolonialism, this is very close to home. The EU, French, German, Spanish companies are all involved, investing in Western Sahara. Israel has recognized Western Sahara as Moroccan. The US have now recognized Western Sahara as Moroccan. And in Europe, even though the consensus has long been one of neutrality and one of negotiating with the representative of the Sahrawi people, the Polisario Front, this has been increasingly abandoned, and actors such as the Spanish government, the EU Commission, the French government have tried to sidestep the Polisario Front.
Le présent et l'avenir de ce territoire s'inscrivent dans le cadre de la souveraineté marocaine.
But the Polisario Front has been leading a legal battle for the last 10 years, which it has now won. This is a press release from the European Court of Justice after striking down the EU-Morocco trade agreements. The requirement relating to the consent of the people of Western Sahara has not been respected. Here it upholds international law by recognizing the Polisario as a representative of the people of Western Sahara and as one of the parties to the self-determination process, because occupied Western Sahara is still under the process of self-determination. But Morocco does not want to consult the Polisario Front, so it will continue exporting goods from occupied Western Sahara and finding ways to camouflage it, or finding unscrupulous countries. Or anyway, in the current international climate, no one cares about international law anymore, so...
I reached out to the EU Commission for comment, and this is what they said.
The EU reiterates its partnership with Morocco, which is wide-ranging, long-standing and deep. Which is another way to say that they will support the status quo. After having a really nice rest in Dakhla, it was time to head to the border with Mauritania. Gergera. Yes, so I cycled down, back up the peninsula, and then down like this, making a couple of stops on the way, up, all the way to the border with Mauritania. Between Dakhla and Gergera, it's about 400 kilometers, I think, maybe more, not sure. And because I was fully rested, I had electrolytes, my muscles were... I think we cleared this in about 3 days.
And I still need to tell my mum I'm going to Mauritania. She still doesn't want me to go.
Hello. Hola. ¿Qué tal? Oh my god. Last night, 30 fucking dogs walked right past me. And this is the pile of stone I always keep in case I get problems with the dogs. I don't necessarily throw it at them, but usually if you throw it towards them, they get scared and run away. But yesterday I had to throw one at a dog, and I feel bad because I think I actually hurt him. But he was really, really scary and really, really annoying. Every morning I wake up soaked. I mean, wake up. I sleep soaked. I slept on the road. Then the dune is there. And there's another dune there. For those wondering, this is my desert sleep setup. My towel, first layer, to avoid my mattress getting any more punctures, because right now it has a slow puncture, so 2 or 3 times a night I need to pump it up. And then my sleeping bag, which is right now a bit humid, it has sand sticking to it. And then inside I have my sleeping bag liner. It is 7:26 in the morning. Oopsie. And we're about to shred today because we're gonna cycle 166 kilometers. Last night for dinner was boiled potatoes because I've got violent diarrhea.
But yes, so this area is Polisario controlled, and this is the border with Mauritania, and this is Moroccan occupied Western Sahara. This map is starting to look like real shit. And the particularity with crossing the border between Moroccan controlled occupied Western Sahara and Mauritania is that there's a no man's land in between. The administration of this area is quite complicated and is often the source of conflict.
Guerguerat in the south of Western Sahara, an area at the border between Morocco and Mauritania, on which the separatist Polisario Front say they launched an attack over the weekend. According to the movement, 4 missiles were launched.
So if you make the wrong step at that border, if you go off the track, you could die.
The Sahrawis are tired, and to see that there is no seriousness in the Moroccan attitude and there is no pressure from the international community, so they are going to continue their fight for their land.
What I had read online was a bit stressful about the Guerguerat crossing, and I really wanted to leave Morocco. Crossing occupied Western Sahara took me about 20 days, and I was actually really looking forward to leaving because I had found this experience quite stressful. The feeling of constantly having to be vigilant, the feeling that people might be listening to my conversations on my phone, that I didn't know how the police would react if they knew what I was filming or who I was talking to. So crossing the Guerguerat border, I was really stressed, but also really looking forward to leaving the territory. And crossing this no man's land, you also cannot go wherever you want because it's once again littered with landmines. I had to throw a stone to see if I could trigger a landmine, and nothing happened. When I arrived in Mauritania, I really felt the relief.
Yo, what's up, gang? We did it! We crossed the border! Yeah.
And I was happy that it was over, really. Hi, thank you for watching it till the end. If you did, that is a huge compliment to me. I am really learning. This has been a huge learning experience, and I think I'm still going to learn so much more on this creative journey. I would also really like to learn from you, the people who watch this. Give me some tips, tell me what works, what doesn't work. I am experimenting, I don't know what my style is. I'm just finding out that I'm having plenty of fun making videos. I'm learning, I'm also working with really crappy equipment. Listen to the noise that my computer makes. So support me. Hopefully I can continue improving and making things that are better and better. I did put a lot of time and energy in this last project, and I have some other stuff coming. I really appreciate anyone watching my videos, leaving a like, or any of my friends who've been encouraging me. I think that has been the most important, people who seem to believe in what I'm doing somehow. Also, my approach is quite collaborative, so if you have any ideas or you want to collaborate on a crazy documentary idea, I'm down. So DM me, send me an email, I don't know, but get in contact and maybe we could plan something great. And if you want to learn more about the Sahrawi struggle for self-determination, then I've linked the work of Western Sahara Resource Watch. They do very, very valuable journalism, and yeah, you should really check them out. Yeah, okay, bisous. Bisous, 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 bisous. Bisous, bisous.